huge news out of the Australian Test team with Nathan McSweeney dropped and teenage sensation Sam Konstas added to the squad for the Boxing Day and New Year's Day tests. McSweeney has struggled at the top of the order after being selected to open the batting for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The South Australian captain has scored 72 runs at an average of 14.5, falling to Jasprit Bumrah on 4 occasions. The 19-year-old Konstas is now in pole position to make his debut at the MCG. He became the youngest ever player to make a 50 in the Big Bash on Tuesday night, scored a century against the Indians for the Prime Minister's 11 and scored 2 tons for New South Wales against South Australia in the Sheffield Shield. And for more on Konstas' call-up and McSweeney's axing, Code Sports' Dan Cherney joined Charmaine Misford a little earlier on Fox Sports News.
Will Sam Konstas play on Boxing Day, or could the Aussies swing a different selection shock and bring in someone like Josh Inglis?
Yeah, we can confirm that Sam Konstas will at the very least be in the Australian Test squad. So he has been called up. We await official confirmation as to whether he will actually be part of the starting 11 or whether they, as you touched on, they will bring in Josh Inglis, who is the spare batter in the squad, or has been for the Test series thus far, and whether he either comes up to the top of the order or there's some sort of reshuffle. Look, I would anticipate that it probably will be Konstas, and that's just guessing to a degree and reading between the lines. But given that they tried McSweeney, who's not a not a recognised opener, it would be a very bold call to then bring in Inglis in a similar boat, albeit he's a much more aggressive player than McSweeney. So I think there is a very strong chance that Sam Konstas, the 19-year-old from New South Wales, makes his Test debut on Boxing Day in what is an enormous Test match, one of the biggest we've seen in years.
And Dan, just with the timing of it all, why has he been brought in now? He's still only 19 years old, but he does have a mountain of runs behind him.
Yeah, look, I suppose he's done about as much as a 19-year-old could do. He's only a relatively new entrant into first-class cricket, only made his Shield debut, I think, at the start of this year for New South Wales. He's in very good form, and he has been sort of billed as a generational talent. But it's one thing to get it done against those sorts of outfits. So it's quite another to be doing it up against Jasprit Bumrah in an enormous Test match.
Speaking of Bumrah, we'll just swing back to McSweeney for a moment. He was given the hardest task in Test cricket to start his career, facing Bumrah. Surely the selectors can't hold it against him too much.
No, and I suspect this is very much not the end of the road for Nathan McSweeney, nor should it be. I mean, he's only 25. And he was obviously asked to bat in a position where he hadn't batted a lot over the journey as an opener, or really hadn't batted at all in first-class cricket until the second of those Australia A games. And then he's come up against an all-time great bowler in Jasprit Bumrah, who removed him 4 times out of 5, and then it was Akashdeep who got him in the final innings in Brisbane. I don't know if that was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of the selectors seeing enough, but he's not a particularly aggressive player, and he wasn't really able to get off strike very often. He did have that quite important innings of 39 in Adelaide, which in the first innings, which helped Australia win that Test, paved the way for Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head, in particular, to do what they did and bat Australia into a winning position. But by the same token, he was dropped on 3 in that innings, so it could easily have been a different story. But it has been about as tough an initiation as you'd get in Test cricket. So enormous sympathy for Nathan McSweeney. But when you look at the guys in that batting lineup, the likes of Usman Khawaja, Steve Smith, in particular, Mitch Marsh, even the guys who are in their 30s, and Usman Khawaja's case 38, there will be opportunities to come. So far from the end for McSweeney, I would have thought.
So let's take a look at the full 15-man squad for the 4th and 5th Tests. Scott Boland is expected to be the replacement for the injured Josh Hazlewood for the Boxing Day Test. Sean Abbott and Jai Richardson have been brought in as cover. All-rounder Bo Webster is also on standby for Mitch Marsh, who's had little to do with the ball. They also have Josh Inglis up their sleeve, with Marnus Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja still struggling for runs.